Hello, hello. Billy here, and welcome. Today is Saturday, April 4th, 2026, and we are doing 3D to 5D action steps going forward. So I hope you're able to check out the first two videos. If not, I highly recommend you review because it's often the simplest things that, we think life is complicated. We were kind of taught, life is a struggle, work hard. Actually, it's work smarter, not harder. kind of thing. um, oh, I am sweating today. Actually, we take this off. So, of course, when we're talking about simple action steps going forward, I had a morning where uh, things just weren't working out. I literally last minute had to switch laptops, and luckily I had another opportunity. So last minute, yeah. So being challenged during these times to, constantly regroup, reset your energy, So I had to take my own advice and take a deep breath and reset and just kind of trusted that, you know what, it all works out. So today, let's see, just to go back a little bit. So the first action steps were what? The breath. And I could do hours on just the breath alone. Some people just do that's their specialty because we're finding more and more it's the breath, right? It's our intentions, how we work with our bodies, how we connect to everything. It's how we heal things. It's how, oh my gosh, the breath is everything. And then when we're going through things, where, we go into that fight or flight or, that whole fear stuff. And, again, what a week we're heading into. But this is the Holy Week, the Easter, right? And what is it? April 1st is like uh, the New Year. So Happy New Year. Oh, hey, hey. Hey, Bear, thanks for joining. Join the not working out party. I know, right? This is crazy. But here we are. We're still kicking and still doing it and still trusting, in our heart, in our intuition. And so we go forward. So, yeah. So this morning I literally had to do to release the stress. So I could let things work out, right? So I could let the computer issue work out. And now I'm sweating. I'm nice and shiny. Okay. Well, that'll calm down, right? As we go within. So, action steps. So now that we got things working out, last time we, did a little bit of meditation, and I'd like to end, with that to something like we'll always kind of tie in whatever we talk about anyway. So feel free to ask questions when things pop up. So the meditation, bringing yourself into stillness, and at this time, so this is like great practice to take these simple things where we can, just take that breath or go within and, not think it has to be some big complicated thing because it really doesn't have to be. So, right, when I am at peace, or I am at peace when I go within. So, peace and the state of grace is really how, if we want to go 5D or whatever in between or after that, that is our true essence, right? The love, the peace that we are. So that's our goal no matter what, right? If it's our collective consciousness, our thoughts, our feelings, and we're all one, so we're all tapping into that collective cloud, right? It takes these powerful action steps, so simple but powerful, to switch. Like if your body gives you a signal, anxiety, or like something in a pit in your stomach, this like feeling, that is like an instant. Oh no, that's not the flow for me in the moment. There's a better choice, right? Because at that moment, You may not be totally in alignment with your higher self, but good news is we have our body to let us know. So, and then in that moment, we have that choice to switch it, right? Switch it up. So, in some of the teachings that many of you probably have heard before, like the Abraham Hicks, if you're older, you've heard awesome, awesome teachings. And one of the things most of us came across, but, I get that question often, well, how do we flip it? How do we get from to that piece you're talking about, right? Well, if you know that material, you've heard about the law of attraction, right? It's gratitude. So step 4 that I have of 14 is the gratitude. That is literally the flip. So I'm just going to read. And again, these are just simple. I mean, I tease and I call them like, bathroom reading material. Just keep it there, just one a day, and like really work with it, So I invite you to. And your mind, when you hear the words or you hear me talking about these things, you naturally go there, or at least your version. So just trust and work with it, right? So I'm just going to read a little. I may stop in between, but we'll see. All right. So gratitude is the energy that flips a negative vibe to a positive. So one way you can do this is make a list of 10 things in your life you're grateful for. So as you write them down, notice how the energy in your body softens and begins to relax, right? You're now diverting your attention to whatever was going on or whatever triggered the fear response, right? Or anxiety or whatever it is. But you're literally taking it. It's like a countdown to peace, to, if it's a tough situation. And, if it's like in the moment, quick, something really whatever, and you don't have access to a piece of paper or your phone to write it in or whatever, it's those steps, that breath. It's really intending and then resetting, right? And you can always find something to be grateful for in the moment, but we'll go on from there. So kind of feel into this. So on the emotional scale, gratitude is the flipping point of energy. Love being the highest vibration, fear and guilt being the lowest, right? So as you list what you're grateful for, you are working your way up the emotional scale where you can now more easily flip the old pattern into new positive ways of thinking and being. And again, it's just a matter of practice before it just becomes normal. You're just doing it. But it's that conscious intention. So if we've been wired to think in fear or to react in fear or to be in our head all the time, it's going to take just a little work, but we're working also with, we are in the ascension. So every day it's lighter, the vibration's higher, more and more people are awakening. That means the mass consciousness is also lifting. We're already at a tipping point where there's a good chunk of people awake now. And so we're kind of here to just anchor in more light and just create that vibe, that energy for more and more hearts to open, to awaken, right? So, and as you're doing your list, and as you're listing those things you're grateful for in the moment, and it could be so easy, right? What you're alive, you're listening to this video right now, or whatever it is in the moment, something else might be going wrong, but flip, you don't know the story yet, right? You don't know why, nothing's on accident and no one can hurt you without your permission and blah, 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 blah. There's so many things. So just, take charge in the moment, and it's not about, being hard on yourself or feeling bad. Everything it's all about being in the now. So you work with the now, right? That's it. Flip it in the now. So, so my go-to line, one of mine is, thank you for the most benevolent outcome. So now we're kind of already flipping, right? So we're grateful, right? So we're listing what we're grateful, or we're thinking about what we're grateful, or we're stating it, right? I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful the sun is shining today, or whatever else it is. And then as you soften, right? So even whatever's going on, and your mind's going to want to go there, right? That's kind of like the go-to, because you're worried about it or you would like it different. So what if you are in gratitude now for it, right? Then then you start anchoring in what you want. Then you start aligning with what you want, right? So thank you says that you already have it. It is done, all right? You're not praying, asking, oh, please, please, and it's out there. But if you're the powerful creator, then you're saying to the universe, but I don't have it. It's out there, It's true. So, if everything's energy, right? Take a step back. Everything is energy, right? So, thank you is already flipping it and you're saying it's done. I appreciate the assistance. And you can kind of check in, like your body's soft, right? As long as you don't allow yourself to go back into that old track, right? So thank you, it is done. And benevolent meaning the best or highest outcome for all concerned, meaning better than we can even imagine in our human mind, right? So the outcome is going to be always better or far better than we expect if we say, thank you for the most benevolent outcome. And then we're soft and we let it go and let it happen. Let that benevolent outcome. You don't know it. You've never seen it, right? And right where you're at the moment or a few moments ago, that wasn't even in your realm, right? It may still not be, but at least you softened now to allow it to come to you, to be that magnet, right? So think about it. I am so grateful for, and it fill in the blank. What are you grateful for, right? What are you grateful for? Gratitude is that flip. So that is step 4. And because we're live and we're going to talk about a couple more, I'm just going to keep going because they kind of go from one into the other, more or less, right? But it's such a great way to ease into that 5D energy. That's just what I call it, but it's the awakened human being, right? Whatever that is. So, so step 5, it's going to be intention, right? And so you're kind of already doing it with the gratitude and then being thankful as though you already have, right? Whatever it is you're desiring to see or to receive or whatever it is, right? So now you're flipping it. That's the type of intention right there. It's you being in charge of the flow of energy. You chose in that moment to redirect it for the highest good, right? And it must be for your highest good because that's when it's for the highest and greatest good for all, right? So an intention is you taking control of your power. In every moment, you send out particles of your energy. Think about that, which then brings back to you a match in energy. Matter of fact, how energy works, I don't know if you remember, I think it was like middle school or something, or junior, probably middle school. But I remember in science learning about energy, and how like attracts like. And it was probably the first time. My last name starts with W, so I'm always in the back of the class, But I remember this vivid as anything, and head down, having to be. I thought I was one of the cool kids, So head down, and this blah blah blah. I can't take any of this in. So I wasn't paying attention. But when the science teacher said, "Well, like attracts like," and I popped up. When the first time I looked, and she looked at me, boom! It was like this instant connection, and kind of shocked me. But it was like this universal moment. Sometimes you have these surreal moments where you're like, ooh, I was supposed to hear that. Ooh, that was supposed to happen. So it was one of those things. So it's all about, energy, really, So like attracts like. And not only that, what you put out, that energy, it gains momentum. You don't just get the mirror back, but energy grows, right? So it gains momentum. So by the time it comes back, so wouldn't it be great if it was love, right? So anyway, that's 5D, right? Where we kind of totally unplug. We're done with that whole matrix. The matrix is dissolved. It's not part of it anymore. We are pretty much fully ourselves, right? I mean, we are entering that part of the, I guess, a convergence, or it was the biblical bifurcation, but now it's a trifurcation because it's going to be like three-dimensional opportunities wherever we resonate with, right? So we're practicing now resonating with the highest outcome, the highest dimension, or whatever it is that where we're meant to be, right? Because we all have a path. So nothing is wrong, nothing is good or bad. It's all just energy. So that's something I heard a long time ago, and it's very powerful and very true. So basically, with energy, you're a walking magnet, right? You're literally a walking magnet. So when you intend, that's when you choose to send it toward what you really want, not what you don't want. You are directing the energy. You are now in control. You see, you are a powerful spiritual being. So when you claim something, it is always answered, good or bad. So claim healing, claim abundance, claim peace, claim love. We all have a choice at every moment. So when you intend, see the intended outcome in your mind's eye or imagination, right? If you think you're making it up, so go with it. Make it up, whatever it is. As you picture the outcome you desire, you are helping create it. It literally has to create first in thought before you see it in your world, right? You have to align with it. You are forming it with your thought energy. So intention and words. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Words are small in resonance. I mean, some have certain energies attached to it. I mean, literally, like our language has been corrupted or whatever. So it's just such power in words and intention. Oh, yeah, I see a question pop up. Thank you, Bear. What do you feel is the key to healing? Well, I think exactly that. It's aligning with that, right? You got to check your thoughts. Take a breath now. I mean, chances are, if you're listening, we tend to focus, we tend to be more in our head. Let's just set an intention now to, take that breath and anchor. Let's breathe through the body fully so that you stay in a state of openness and flow, right? I actually had a calling to wear aquamarine today, which is a crystal and energy that keeps you in that flow, right? So if intention is for healing, right, then first let's open up to it. And everything starts with the grounding and the connection, right? So the grounding so that you have your roots anchored into the earth. You connect with source, let it all meet in your heart center, right? And to me, that was the trickiest part, because we're always trying to analyze or figure things out, or I have to this, I have to that, the list, right? But the truth is, no, it's in the softness is where you get the answers. It's in here, your heart center, right? I don't want to move it or else my light thing might fall out, but yeah, it's being centered. So it starts there. And that is just, when you ask for the key, it's there because, hey, if your heart has all the answers, right? So that's that, right? So, and now you have an intention for healing. And when you come into your heart with the breath or whatever means, your visualization, whatever it is, taking that thought, well, I have blah, blah, blah going on, but I would like healing. And I see that I keep going in my head and I keep repeating these certain visions or pictures that are not exactly what I want. They're more fearful than joyful. That's obviously me worrying about whatever's going on, right? So, kind of when I mentioned the Abraham Hicks thing, I don't know if you recall, but some of the law of attraction teachings are, when we constantly ruminate about these things, then it's basically saying to the universe, right? Well, how did they say? Abraham was, he was so funny. He said, it's like talking to uh, the restaurant menu in the sky and saying, "Come to me, this thing I do not want." Right? You are the master creator. So now, because if you ask, right, we're in the head all the time anyway, but literally, if you try to bring it in your heart, but you notice you keep flipping up into the head in these repetitive thoughts. But if you take a moment, especially put your hand on your heart and then ask, you know, what are you trying to tell me? Because there's a mind body spirit connection happening. And whenever you have any repeated thought, like, yes, we have interference, radio waves, there are programs from the television and other things. So it does take that conscious intention. That's you flipping it, right? So you're intending to receive healing, to be healed, to know, to receive, to open up to the knowledge, to the knowingness that you are already healed, right? You know, yeah, so it's a matter of aligning with it. And what popped in, I talked to a lot of obviously holistic crowd and a large demographic that knows or is aware about, the long suppressed hidden technologies, the energy healing devices and all that, right? The crystal chambers or med beds as they're called or whatever. And, with the dates of disclosure, which, we really are upon that. And yet in a community that is aware of it, I often hear, "Oh, I'll believe it when I see it." And it's like, oh, shoot, it's actually, you'll see it when you believe it, right? Because what are you doing? You're telling that menu, that restaurant menu in the sky, it's not there. Same as if you just constantly ruminate about it and not work with it. If your body, your higher self, your emotional self in this great time of ascension is looking for a way to release yourself from the matrix, to finally let go of the old patterns and to heal these long standing issues or whatever it is, your body's always talking to you. It's connected to something, right? So, your body is a GPS. It literally is. So as soon as you ask the question, so I challenge you to do that, to align with the healing that you want, to see yourself completely healed, right? How do we do that? Yeah, see it, and the more we can. But if there's a story that repeats, then that story is part of it's a clue, actually, on how to get to that state, even if it's just a state of believing, right? The believing that I am healed, right? I am that I am, and I have that power, right? Marvel not what I do, for far, far greater shall you do, if only you believed you can. Those were the words taken out from the original writings, right? So the wisdom and the knowledge of that has always been here. So it has to do with the mind and the belief system, right? And it's connected to the emotional intelligence, which is connected to your source self, the all-knowing you, right? And so it's an inside job, and that's what we're doing with these easy steps. So the key to healing is the softening, coming into your heart, and then just practice aligning with it. And maybe not be so hard on ourselves. That's a big thing. I notice we all do that. Yeah, that's like wrong. That's not aligning with it. So, it's like have fun with it. Maybe get together with, set that intention to get together with like-minded who are ready to call it forth. And maybe we could do a little, or I might need to be a reminder, but let's do a little meditation where we align with that, right? Because we are at that point. And there's so many triggers, and if there's so many timelines that we are just temporarily until everything, until the earth and the whole trifurcation or whatever that's called happens, and we're a little bit more our true selves, right? Because we're at that point where we're like choosing our lanes and You know, and anyone listening to my videos has chosen the higher. So that's great. So let's go there together. Let's do it, you know? And the cool thing is, I mean, think about it. The more you do for yourself, it's almost like, you know, we were wired, or the matrix is, to me, is opposite land, right? And it's almost, no, serving is helping others. That's how you do it, and then you get rewarded. But if you don't serve yourself first, you're so depleted, right? And you're just constantly outside of you looking for something, and that is a constant giving up of your power. Constant. Leaves you so depleted, right? Just thinking about it, I just got anxiety. Right? So yeah, we're just such powerful beings. It's not even funny. It's amazing. Kind of lost myself there for a minute. But yeah, so the key really is coming into the softness. And then I think it's the believing. So how do we believe? We do the action steps to get us there, right? Because in the truth, like if you meditated and you got into your heart and you just kind of soften, you know, when we're in that space, which I always call it 5D space, whatever. But when we're in that space, and you're breathing, you're letting go, you're softening, there's no holding. You'll notice that whatever's going on is softening too. You're literally, with the breath, as you soften, you're inviting more you, which is more love energy, more higher frequency, right? So that's the opposite of holding, which brings pain, right? Concentrates on pain or whatever the issue is, right? So either whatever you're paying attention to grows, right? So if you're paying attention to peace and healing, that grows. So very good. Thank you, Bear. He says, this is a great podcast. Just listening is a way of healing. I love you. Thank you. Actually, that's a very powerful statement, right? Yeah, because I mean, that's kind of my intention even before I start, you know, to just be that and to be that vibration. And sometimes I feel like I babble, but I kind of trust, you know, so I might go off, but I always try to bring it back, you know, knowing that, I don't know, I just have to trust. So, you know, because, yeah, that's serving, you know. If I am my best, or I try, you know, to be my best at every moment. I mean, I know I have a lot of work still, but that's a certain energy, that's an intention that I want people to feel. And thank you for sharing, because that means it comes across. Because if I can hold that space, then maybe it'll trigger somebody else to remember that, like, yeah, that feels good. Yeah, that's home. That's real, right? That's who I am. I like it. You know, and then the more I talk, other things pop in because you're open, you're in the flow, right? It's all about the flow. So I forgot where I'm at. It's only one page, but so I think we are here. Let's say, so we have a choice in every moment, right? Just to recap. Okay, intention and words. So words are small and they can seem limited if you do not connect with the energy of what you want, right? Like I notice with intentions or affirmations, you know, people like memorize things. And after a while, it kind of loses the charge, or, oh, it's not working, or they just stop doing it. But it's the feeling isn't there, it just becomes like robotic, right? But yet our power is in our emotions. And that has a lot of meaning right there, right? Don't become robotic. Your power is in your emotions. Oh, did I say that? So yeah, I just lost myself. But no, it's the feeling energy. And I literally wrote it out like that. And it is. Feel with it. It's a feeling energy. It is much more powerful than the word itself. Right? So feel it as though you already have it around you. Now you can better connect with its energy. You are calling it forth. That way you're aligning with it. That's what I'm talking about. So, Yeah, because there's something I'm pausing because there's something else kinda coming in. I was thinking a lot of times in my classes when I talk about this stuff, I'm always reminded years ago, I remember reading that, there's some, tribes in Africa, but I think I saw a video, there's only, like, one more tribe left that does it, but, they speak in sounds. It doesn't say on this video, but on the one I saw many years ago, it talked about the fact that, their leaders chose to that was like a rule in the tribe to not use spoken word. Why? Because they saw what it did to the white man. It's as though words can be curses. I mean, maybe that's why they call spelling, because you're casting spells, right? So they wouldn't allow it. It was more to keep the magic, to keep the telepathic connection, the oneness, the flow, the openness, the avatar. I just saw the movie popped in my head, but the avatar, I see you, right? And it wasn't just words, it's an energetic, a telepathic, a heart to heart, a 5D way of living, right? So that's what we really are. So intention, basically, and what is it? It's a one line, one thought, right? Intention sets a new course. Oh, that's so good. A new direction. That is you taking your power back, right? So know that prayer and intention produce the same result, depending on how you pray, right? Not from pain or desperation, because you're almost blocking yourself. It's a opening and trusting. I mean, you can answer or you can pray and ask in a moment of desperation, call out for help. Yes. But that faith has to be strong enough for you to allow it, right? And also depending on your life's path and mission. If you're not meant to go, you're not going to go. You know what I mean? Something will happen. Divine, the divine is always with you, and you are divine. So open up your heart and let it happen. Yeah. So anyway, so let's see. Prayer and intention produce the same result. Now add a little passion to it, and the energy builds and shoots in the direction of your desire, right? Isn't that cool? So even like, I'm just going to use the example of the health, manifesting the health. Imagine that now, right? Directing, you're rewiring your mind, you're taking charge of your energy, you're setting an intention, right? Remember, practice 30 days to create a new habit, 90 days and 90 plus days to create a new groove in the brain. Then you no longer jump tracks. So it's not that hard. We just gotta do it. Oops, sorry, shaking things up a bit. So yeah, so that add that passion, right, in the direction of your desires. So one of my favorite expressions to steer uh, the day's energy in the right direction is claiming what a wondrous, glorious, and loving day it is. And that's it. I intend that. And wrote that on the next page. I mean, that's like a thought for the day. It's you claiming it. What a wondrous, glorious, and loving day it is. Imagine claiming that before a meeting or before a tough phone call, right? That would be another time where you would use, I set the intention or thank you, right? It's already done. Thank you for the most benevolent outcome. And then you make your phone call. Like I always tell people, especially with phone calls, when the phone rings and you see a name, it's like, oh, whatever, there's a little tension involved in that, or I'm not ready, or whatever. That person has set an intention. They already had the thought, they already had the conversation going, and their intention is it's going their way. Nothing says you are obligated to answer at that exact moment. If your body registers, does your body give you a signal, right? Mind, body, spirit connection. Did your higher self, your I am presence say, yay, answer it, this is going to go great. Or did your body give you a signal and say, whoa, you know what? Then give yourself a break. Don't answer it right away. Give it a minute or 2 or 3, right? You could be in the bathroom. You could be talking to the neighbors. You could be, I don't know, cooking, whatever. So that person doesn't have to know. But you can then, in that moment, ground yourself, like literally ground, imagine your roots, come into the heart and set the intention, just say thank you for the most benevolent outcome and bless that person, right? And you don't have to really know what to say, but if you come into that peace and into your center and you say that, and the most benevolent outcome is like you're asking yourself, your higher self, your guides to be God, source, whatever, to be in that energy, right? Where everything works out even better than you can imagine. So now you want to get into that trust, that faith, that the divine will speak through you. You are an aspect of the divine. You have the light within, right? So use it to share love. Your words can be love, just or no words, right? Just share. Just keep practicing, hearing, listening, everything operating through your heart. What a wondrous, glorious, and loving day it is. And that too, right? Feel with it. If you think that to yourself. And bring it into your heart, right? You just sent a whole flow. You already intended, you're trusting. The universe is going to answer. Everything's falling into place. And you can redirect your energy anytime, all day long, every minute if you need to. And before you know it, you won't have to do it anymore. So, yay. So that is already chapters 4 and 5. Now, I don't know, what time do we have? Should I keep going? I mean, we could do one more. It's kind of good and it kind of goes with it. So I'm going to do chapter 6, also pretty short. And then we'll end with like a little meditation thing. And step 6, not chapter, but I guess it's a chapter, flipping. That's kind of what we're talking about, right? Because it happens that quick. One with the breath, right? With the intention, all those things. We're intending to align with that, with what we want. Good health, abundance, right? We want to align with the med beds. We want to align with the higher technologies. We want to align with freedom, right? We want to align with peace, with loving communities, with our soul tribe. Right? So we're calling it in. So step 6, flipping. So once you become aware of a negative thought, you can flip it by using the power of your mind, your intention. So what is the negative thought? Well, you could write it down. That's another thing. People tend to ruminate, let that stuff spin around. And I'm always like, well, just write it down. Just take it out of the mind. Oh, clean up the space to let something new come in, right? Write it down. It's huge. What would be the opposite, right? So let's say you wrote it down, right? This negative thought that's been popping in, write it down. So if you think about it, well, what is the opposite of that, or the positive version, right? If you could create the positive, write it down below the negative thought, right? So your intention is to flip the negative into a positive statement with a matching image in your mind, right? Especially because we've been programmed to be in our head, right? The brain, the mind works in pictures, right? So we're more apt to believe. So even if people lie or what is that? I forgot that term, but they talk bad about people just to make themselves look good or whatever their issue is, right? But if people hear something about somebody else, and even if it's a lie, while they're listening, they're forming a picture in their head, right? So now that becomes their new belief, unless you're filtering the conversation right away from your heart mind. But if you're apt to believe what you're told, if it happens to be a lie, right? You now have an image. It is now in your memory bank, and you have been programmed to always be up here. So you're going to believe. It's amazing how things work, right? So it takes work to flip things and to come into a place of trust, into that 5D you, which is who you really are. And the energies are so on the planet now where it's all happening at once. 5D is already here. Matter of fact, you're probably going in and out of it, throughout the day. Yeah, it could be a little seesaw back and forth thing, but you know what? That's okay. Breathe through it. We got this. We're almost there. So again, think about the healed version, right? You have a pattern or a thought belief about your health, about abundance, right? Lack program is huge on the planet. We all have it. And I don't care how much money you have in the bank, but it could be that the lack program is still playing with you on some level, right? If you tuned in, you would notice that. So, in order to flip these things, like really work with them, right? Change the energy that you're giving off so that you're magnetizing exactly what you want from your truest state of being, right? Because that's part of your mission, your passion, your joys. That's who you are. That's we are meant to bring, right? Bring here. You're working on behalf of Source. So bring it. So now you have this new version, right? Or at least try, right? The negative thought that repeats, or just make something up. You can always work with it later. But I want you to write down, like literally do that action step now. A healed version, just a one-liner about the flipped version of whatever it is you're working with now. That negative thought that keeps going through your mind, right? Your intention is to flip to the negative into the positive with a matching image in your mind. So now you're kind of daydreaming about this new thought. So what is the opposite? Just kind of give it more life, this image, like you're painting it in your mind. What would it look like? Start asking those questions. If you've never experienced, you don't know what it feels. You don't have that picture yet. And you can access it and align with it in here, right? But let's give our mind a little more things to play with and work with, right? So we have a new trigger, so we can flip it, and then that new picture, which brings in peace and joy, and then you automatically open up to it. Now you're more and more aligning with it, right? That's why like vision boards are good, as long as you look at it and feel and align with it, right? Thank you for that. So fabulous. Let's see, back to where I was. Yeah, ask yourself, what does that look like, right? Because if we were programmed to be here, the brain works in a way when you ask a question, it looks for the answer immediately. We're problem solvers, right? Left brain, programmed to be in our mind. So we're problem solvers. So let's use that part of the brain. I mean, it's all just wonderful. And the mind is so powerful. But I just want to use little baby steps, easy ways, right? So, I may talk in a way where it seems like I'm ignoring really important things, but that all comes into play. But for now, right, what does that look like? Create that picture so that you already begin to have an image. And so if you write the negative statement and then you write the positive statement, and then underneath, if you literally took the time, whenever you had time, to list 10 or more things to describe that picture, like describe what popped in, your higher self, like you softening, you're already connecting to your emotional intelligence, your higher self, your whatever, to the awe, to the knowingness of who you are and why you're here, to your joys, to your passion. That is why you're here. You have those seeds within you to express them. So let that list, that new image, come forward. And whatever that is, take note. You just anchored in, you just created a new tool for yourself. You can't undo that picture now because here you go. Here it is. So, and remember, if everything's energy, you're feeding it. You're setting the energy in a certain direction, right? So like a walking magnet, you're going to bring that back. So it would be so awesome to just keep adding to that throughout the day, or every time you catch yourself, right? Now you're rewiring your mind, these old programs. And it can be that easy. So remember the power of thoughts and words. You're creating your reality. So words from old patterns create disconnected energy. You're just recycling old beliefs. So let it go. Let it go. It's funny, but it's so helpful and true, right? It's like, to me, I think that's part of I believe the meaning behind turning the other cheek. If you're complaining about something, you don't like it, and it's making you uncomfortable, and it seems so hard to change, and turn the other cheek. Stop looking at what you don't want to create more of. Like it or not, you're a powerful being, powerful creator. We came here to create beautiful things. There were just some things that threw us off our path, and now we're claiming it back, you know? And if we were taught or programmed that everything's hard and the truth is the opposite, we make more of it than we need to, and it comes from a place of peace. We create from there. Then we realize more and more, yeah, it is easier to let go than we thought. Don't worry about who you are. Be like children, free and in the moment, right? Think about kids. They're free and in the moment. I intend to feel good. That could be a great intention. I intend, fill in the blank, right? Let's change that flow of energy. Upshift. So as you begin to repeat your new positive flipped statement with practice and intention, it becomes the new pattern, right? So when flipping, it is important to use positive words and make positive statements that give off a feeling of joy, love, peace, freedom. This is your true state of being. So check what you wrote down as the positive or the flipped version, right? Does it give off that feeling? Just make sure, because it might take little stages. Like I remember years ago when I first wrote down, I can't think of an example now, but I remember catching myself or hearing somebody saying that, and I looked at my words, I'm like, oh, that still sounds a little negative. So it's a feeling thing. It's an energy thing. It's a creation thing. You want to create that peace or that wonderful stuff. So yeah. So we're flipping the energy. Now it's on the way, right? So let's see. What did we start with today already? Gratitude as the flipping point, right? And then the intention, which kind of now sets the energy in a certain direction. You're fueling it. Intention is like, you are so powerful. Honestly, when you intend, that's everything, right? You're no longer being tossed about by other people's intentions, right? If we're all connected, we're going to feel our fellow brothers and sisters, right? And there's a lot of fear still out there and more stuff for us to go through, but honestly, it's a lot of disclosure. We're finally seeing things that have been going on forever, and now we're coming in to a place where we're taking our power back, and it's as easy as coming into our center and no longer being controlled by others, because we're choosing to not give our power back. We're choosing to come into our heart center. I am my I am presence, right? I am that I am. And we're going to operate from here, and we're just going to keep working on that and aligning with that which we want, not what we don't want, because your passion is your path, right? So let's go into a little meditation where we're setting our intention. And meditations don't always have to be long or whatever, but let's come together. And even if you're listening to this down the road, we're all connecting and making changes. If everything's happening now, right, then whenever you're listening to this, or let's say you're listening again and you're doing the meditation or just the meditation part, you're adding more to that, more and more, right? Again, it's all particles of energy going out, and they multiply, right? It's like everything you've ever asked for or wanted or desired. Really, there is this vortex of energy. You've already began to call it forth. It's just then when we kind of go off track or something happens and, we go sideways and we're no longer honoring us, we're kind of gave our power away. Does that mean all that stuff goes away? No, it's still there. It's waiting for us to realign and to once again open up our heart to receive it, right? So, all right, let's do some practicing of receiving. So I invite you to kind of settle in if not already. And we're going to take a few slow, deep breaths. Just imagine, so even with your intention now, once again, you're bringing awareness to connecting with the earth, with the Great Mother. Remember, nature's energy is already that frequency of the I am. We're all connected, right? We're nature, right? So if you ever need a quick energy shift, just step outside. And right now, at these times, it is so important. So if we can do outside every day a little something just to connect, get yourself grounded, feel the peace, and we intend it for the world too. We intend that in that moment, even if it's just a minute outside, 5 minutes, whatever, that in that moment we are grounding, we're connecting with all light beings on the planet, holding the light, inviting everyone to come into their peace, into their heart, to disconnect, to say no to anything that is not of the highest and greatest good, and remember who they are and follow their passions. So, as simple as anchoring in, feel the love of the Great Mother. As soon as you connect or send your roots, you can already see or feel. And I was seeing, so I said see. Some of you might see more, but so imagine you see the Great Mother welcoming you, holding you grounded. And if you're getting more sensitive, which you are, or we all are, because our bodies are shifting, right? We're going from carbon base into this higher realm. We're becoming more crystalline energy. Everything's coming on board, our DNA, right? We're becoming wiser, healthier, younger, more vibrant, even before all the med bed and all the healing modalities come forward again. So start to resonate with that, feeling good, just connecting with Mother Earth, with nature. I just spent an extra moment or two there because I want you to take the time to feel, to be one. It can be quick, or you want to practice a little more often. But before you know it, you'll just be walking in that state. And you no longer have to intend because you are. I am. I am I am presence. And I am one with the I am presence of all of humanity. I am one with my Father, Mother God, with Source. And I breathe light into my heart center. I am a temple of light. And I call forth the full power of the mighty violet flame of transmutation and forgiveness to transmute all of the causes, core effects, habits, records, and memories of every thought, feeling, word, or action I have ever expressed in any time frame or dimension, known or unknown, that reflects anything less than God's infinite love, light, pure health, and abundance. Imagine the violet flame, the beautiful violet light, cleansing all those old beliefs on all levels. I call all aspects of myself into presence. And the violet flame I now blaze through every atomic and subatomic particle and wave of precious life energy that has my signature on it through all time and space. And feel yourself, imagine yourself being cleansed of all those old beliefs, any blocks, opening up, creating space for all your passions, your DNA to be activated, for your dreams to come forward, to align with your purpose, your mission, in the most benevolent way. So I now invite my I Am Presence to fill this space with the most glorious golden white light. So all the spaces where once there was stress energy or negative beliefs or anything else you maybe saw or felt leave, fill now with the most beautiful light. This is your true state of being, just love. This is what meant. So whether it's health issues, all the reasons behind, the beliefs behind it are being loved, are being healed. So stories come up, you bless them. Love that part. And so where there's lack, love that self. And in this space of unconditional and limitless love, you are transforming it all. And so now, as you fill with light, imagine you fill to overflow. And it begins to pour right out of your heart center, filling now your auric field, right? You have a vessel, an aura around you. Imagine you fill with the most beautiful light. And your aura extends about 2.5 to 3 feet in all directions. Yes, 3 feet. And so, by you imagining that now, you're claiming for your aura to come into just the perfect alignment. So if you've gone through stress or trauma, often there's an interference in your auric field, but now you've just mended it by inviting that light in and just imagine in purest, most beautiful bubble of light. And you invite it now to become also a protective layer with a beautiful shimmering layer. Maybe visually you even see another color. Maybe it's pink, or maybe it's a golden shield, or maybe it makes you invisible, or maybe even a copper shield. I know copper is a shield for all psychic things, anything to, it's a total protection. So copper's a beautiful energy. Whatever it is, you're just in the most beautiful bubble of light. Yes, and in that space you draw to yourself a matching energy. Right, so imagine that energy is so flowing now. And now you feel so safe, you feel so grounded, so connected. Imagine it flows beyond. And now with your intention, imagine your higher self, your guides, your true self. You now intend to see, to experience, to feel that healed version, that 5D version. What does that look like? 4D, 5D, whatever, the healed version. What does that look like? What does it feel like? And imagine as you go forward, there's like a fog and it clears right before you. And as you step forward, you're on the most beautiful path out in nature. A natural path. It just feels so fresh and so vivid as you look around. The colors are so bright. It feels so good. And you get a sense of your helpers, your higher self. And as you walk now, you look ahead and there you see. Take note what is right in front of you, the healed version. Imagine what that looks like. Feeling so good, so free. See how you appear. What does that perfect version of you look like? What will you be doing? If your passions are your path, what are you doing now in this beautiful scene? Knowing as you go forward, you are taking the steps to align with it. That perfect health, the abundance of all kinds, beyond imagination. If you've never experienced it in this realm, know that you are entering the realm of abundance now. As we together enter the golden age of abundance, of health, of love, of pure faith and connection, creating communities that operate through the heart, creating with joy, with passion. What does that look like? Imagine the earth herself as we all shift to follow our heart, the stories and the passions that we're here to express, to create. See the earth herself becoming lush and cleansed, the soil, the waters, the mountains, the ocean, the forests, all these beautiful communities. Imagine connecting with your soul tribe and discovering how your passion matches theirs. Not only does it match, it's as if each one of you brings a different piece to the table, to the equation, all working together in a beautiful, creative, unified way of living and being. And so observe what that feels like. And as you set the intention to remember to add to this vision, to anchor it deep now, breathing it fully into every cell as the new way of being, of going forward. Know and trust that every step you take, every action going forward, that's following your heart, that's in the intention for the highest and greatest outcome, you are closer and closer. You are one with this beautiful outcome. And yet it can also happen in an instant, in a thought. And one day it will. One day you will. And that day could be today. Claim it for yourself. I am that I am. I am oneness. I am unity consciousness. I am joy. I am passion. I am abundant. I am pure health. And I align with all that is the most benevolent, all that I am meant to create. I am in complete faith and trust. I soften into the I am that I am, where I connect with the all. And so, in a moment, we'll make our way back. So just see, check in once more in that feeling place from your heart space, in that beautiful vision of this healed version, right? This highest version of yourself, which you can practice over and over. Right? Feel it. Send it forth. Set that intention to be walking in that energy. And knowing that anytime you can come back to that feeling place, it just takes a breath, an intention, a flipping of the thought. So let's ask the I am presence, I am that I am. Ask your heart for any final message or gift for the day. What is it that I need to know? And breathe and receive. And so let us give thanks for all the guidance. And thank you all for joining. And just know that in this space, with your beautiful intentions, as we all connect in this space, we're all one heart, one love, and one light. So powerfully manifesting and creating together, right? So whatever your intentions were today, in this space, know that our unified love just added and magnified each one of our intentions, right? And in this space of transformation, as we all shift together from 3D to 4D, 5D, to the trueness of who we are, right? To the, I'm going to call it 5D, but whatever it is for you, to the I am that I am. We are anchoring in the new earth, the golden age. It is time. We are that. We are one. One heart, one light, and one love. And so it is. Thank you so much for joining. I wish you a blessed day, and I hope to see you again soon. I'm going to ask if there are any final questions or thoughts. Just kind of feel, keep checking in as you make your way back. Feel grounded, maybe set the intention to take that feeling into your day and beyond. And yeah, I hope you have a blessed day. All right. Much love, and we will connect again real soon. Take care.